When I pulled into the ranch that morning, I thought I was hallucinating. 3 guys in neon vests were drilling into the ground near our front fence like they owned the place. One of them looked up just long enough to yell, "This doesn't concern you. We're with the HOA." HOA? Out here? That was rich. We lived 10 miles outside the nearest neighborhood. I looked toward the porch, and sure enough, there was my mom, calm as ever, sipping coffee with a shotgun balanced across her lap like it was a normal Tuesday. She looked at me and said, "They brought coffee and arrogance, so I figured I'd let them dig their own hole." Literally, it turns out, I stepped out of my truck, caught the scent of gasoline and disturbed soil, and walked over. The men were knee-deep in a trench, one running an auger, the other 2 giving him fake instructions like they were filming a low-budget construction ad. A white pickup with a magnetic sign reading Greystone Community Improvement Task Force was half blocking our barn access. "Mind telling me who gave you permission to dig up my parents' land?" I asked. The foreman, a cocky guy in mirrored shades with too much swagger for someone holding a clipboard, said, "Community Beautification Project. You'll get the paperwork later." I squinted at him. Funny, 'cause this land's been private agricultural since '75. County zoning hasn't changed. He shrugged. Zoning evolves. My dad emerged from the barn just in time, grease on his hands, clearly irritated. They tried convincing me they were from the county. He grumbled, then asked where our water shutoff valve was. That's when I knew something was off. I immediately called the county zoning office. The woman on the other end practically laughed. "There's no authorization, no zoning changes, and no HOA allowed anywhere near your land. In fact, it's conservation protected." I turned to the crew. "You've got 30 seconds to stop digging and move your truck." The foreman scoffed. "Or what? You gonna write a letter?" I didn't answer. I walked around the barn, unhitched our hay trailer, and backed it behind their truck. 3 rows of hay bales blocked their exit. Then I parked Dad's old tractor sideways across the side road. No one was leaving unless we let them. Mom clapped from the porch. "That's ranch style." One of the younger guys muttered, "Boss, I think they're serious." The foreman started making calls. I could hear him saying words like easement and community vote, but his tone was panicked. While he scrambled, I sat on the trailer hitch and snapped pictures of everything. The trench, the truck, the clipboard. Then I called the sheriff. Unauthorized excavation by non-county personnel. I told dispatch. That changed their tone real quick. Minutes later, the deputy rolled in. He looked at the hay wall, then at the trapped truck, and just said, "Well, this'll be fun to explain." The foreman rushed over with a storm of excuses. The deputy raised a hand. "Sir, stop talking before I find a reason to cite you for first-degree stupidity." Turns out, these guys weren't rogue workers. They were sent by the HOA president Denise Weller, a woman notorious in town for trying to turn every rural road into a master-planned community. This time, she claimed she was protecting natural water flow by trenching on what she called buffer zones. She showed up 10 minutes later in a black Escalade with vanity plates. Lawful 1. She stepped out like she was walking onto a courtroom TV set, binder in hand, heels clicking across gravel, sunglasses on despite the clouds. "What seems to be the issue?" she asked. The deputy asked if she had any county-level approval. She waved her binder like it held the Constitution. Section 7C of the Community Charter allows trenching along shared land. I leaned in. "We're not in your HOA. Never were." She smiled. Lines were redrawn in the last vote. Deputy raised a brow. "Was that vote recorded with the clerk's office?" Her face tightened. "We're in the process." Then she claimed they weren't digging. They were maintaining. We all looked at the trench. Still fresh. tools still lying beside it. Then came the real blow. The deputy asked for a map proving the land was HOA territory. She handed over something that looked like it was made in MS Paint circles, squiggly borders, and a huge label, Shared Green Zone. The deputy sighed. This isn't a legal document. My dad handed over official maps with the county seal. The deputy reviewed them and nodded. This is what we go by? And then icing on the cake, a local news van pulled in. A reporter jumped out and made a beeline for Dad. So you boxed them in with hay bales? She asked. We're farmers. He said dryly. It's what we had. The story exploded. Goats were licking safety vests. Neighbors showed up with lawn chairs. HOA crew just stood there defeated. Then, the sheriff arrived. He took one look and muttered, Please don't tell me this is Denise again. She tried handing him emails, but he spotted phrases like anticipated approval, not permission, just hopeful guessing. Then the deputy searched her SUV and found internal zoning forms partially filled, with a forged official's name. Ma'am, he said, you're not just dealing with trespassing anymore. You're looking at forgery of government documents. She went pale. HOA crew was ordered to stay put. The sheriff turned our ranch into an active investigation site. Tools confiscated. Binder bagged as evidence. News camera caught it all. The next day, the county zoning board called to apologize. They'd found other falsified filings. Denise resigned. Her board called it a rogue action. The trench violated state environmental protections. We painted a sign on the hay bales before removing them. Not HOA. Not your land. The sheriff later sent us a thank you note for handling things with restraint. No guns. No fights. Just hay and facts. And now, a few drone photos from a neighbor hang in our barn under the label, The Great Hay Bale Standoff. So what do you think? Did we go too far? Or just far enough? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever had a run-in with an HOA that thought it ruled the world? Let's hear your stories below.